All right, let's talk about something we all remember. Getting that first driver's license, right? What a feeling. But the real challenge isn't just passing the test. It's actually keeping that license. So today, we're going to break down the New York State rules you absolutely have to know to stay on the road.
I mean, that little plastic card, it represents so much freedom, so much independence. But here's the thing you got to remember. In the eyes of the law, driving is a privilege, not a right. And as we're about to see, that privilege can be taken away a lot easier than you might think.
Okay, so let's dive right in. When you lose your driving privileges, it happens in one of two ways. Your license gets suspended or it gets revoked. Now, they might sound pretty similar, but believe me, the difference between them is absolutely crucial. Here's the easiest way to think about it. A suspension, that's temporary. It's like your license is in a timeout. It gets taken away for a set amount of time, and then you get it back after you pay a fee. A revocation, though, that is a whole different story. That's a complete cancellation. Your license is gone. You actually have to go all the way back to the DMV and reapply like a brand new driver. And there's no guarantee they'll even approve you. It's a much, much bigger deal. So what's the most common way people find themselves with a suspended license? Well, it's usually not one big dramatic mistake. It's a series of smaller ones that just slowly add up. And that is exactly where the DMV point system comes into play.
The key words to focus on here are persistent violators. See, the point system isn't really designed to hammer you for one single mistake. It's a tool the DMV uses to spot a pattern of risky driving, all within an 18-month window. They're looking for a trend, not just a one-off bad day.
And wow, you can see just how fast those points can stack up. Using your phone while driving, that's 5 points right there. Passing a stopped school bus, also 5 points. Even something as common as tailgating, following too closely, that's 4 points. These aren't some obscure rules. They're things we literally see on the road every single day. So this is the magic number you need to burn into your memory. 11. If you rack up 11 or more points on your license in any 18-month period, you're in the danger zone. The DMV is almost certainly going to suspend your driving privileges. Think about it. 2 5-point violations and 1 little tippet, and boom, you're over the limit. And hey, if you're a new driver, the rules are even tougher. For those first 6 months after you get your license, you're on probation. During that time, just one serious violation like speeding or any 2 other traffic tickets, and that's an automatic 60-day suspension. There's basically 0 room for error.
Okay, so we've talked about how points can slowly add up, but some offenses are so serious that they just bypass the point system completely. These will lead to an immediate, mandatory loss of your license. The stakes just got a whole lot higher.
For these things, there's no math, no adding up points. You get convicted, you lose your license. End of story. 3 speeding tickets in 18 months, that's a minimum 6-month revocation. Leaving the scene of an accident where someone got hurt or street racing, same deal. And if you get caught driving without insurance, that's a minimum 1-year revocation. These are absolute hard lines in the sand. But when it comes to the most serious penalties you can possibly face, nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. New York law is incredibly specific here, with different levels of offenses that carry harsher and harsher consequences. Let's start with drivers under 21. For them, New York has what's called a zero-tolerance law. A blood alcohol content of just 0.02%, which can seriously come from just 1 drink, is enough to trigger a 6-month suspension. Now, for drivers 21 and over, the legal limit is 0.08. If you hit that number, you're not just looking at a suspension. You're facing a criminal DWI charge and a minimum 6-month revocation. Remember, that means your license is canceled. And if your BAC is all the way up at 0.18, well, that gets elevated to aggravated DWI. The state sees this as extremely dangerous, and the penalty reflects that, a minimum 1-year revocation. Now you might be thinking, well, I'll just refuse to take the breathalyzer test. Bad idea. The law is way ahead of you. Refusing to take a chemical test has its own automatic penalty, a minimum 1-year license revocation. In some cases, that's actually worse than the penalty for the DWI itself.
Losing your license is one thing, but the financial hit from a serious violation can stick with you for years. The fine they write on the ticket, that's often just the beginning. It's just the tip of the iceberg.
Let's look at all the ways this costs you. First, you've got the fine from the court, plus all the state surcharges. Then, if your license gets suspended, you have to pay a termination fee of at least $50 just to get it back. And then there's the big one that catches so many people off guard,
the Driver Responsibility Assessment. This is the one that really gets people. The Driver Responsibility Assessment is a totally separate penalty, and it's billed directly by the DMV. It's an extra cost on top of all your court fines that you have to pay every year for 3 years if you get too many points or have a serious conviction like a DWI.
And just look at how this adds up. 6 points on your record? That's an extra $100 a year for 3 years that you owe the DMV. Every single point over 6 adds another $25. And a DBI conviction, that'll cost you an extra $250 a year for 3 years. That's a total of $750 in extra fees paid right to the DMV.
So after hearing all that, the points, the revocations, the fees, it can feel a little overwhelming. I get it. But here's the most important takeaway. The best way to protect your license isn't just hoping you get lucky out there. It's knowledge. It's knowing exactly what the rules are.
Because, your driving record isn't just some file sitting in an office somewhere. It's a living, breathing story. And a new line gets written every single time you turn that key and pull out onto the road. The only real question is, what will your story be?